What's up, everybody? Artist Anderson here from Forever Love. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Anderson's Life and subscribe to the YouTube page. All right, now listen, I want to talk to y'all today about healing from a breakup, right? Healing after a breakup. Now, forgiveness is a powerful tool. So after the breakup, right, you go through your process and you go through your stages, right? But when it's time to start healing, ultimately, this is where you realize that you have to forgive and move on and let go. You got to forgive and forget. Now, I know the forget part is something that people struggle with. Honestly, forgiveness is something that people struggle with. They struggle with the whole thing. But forgetting it does not mean it didn't happen or removing it from your memory in totality, because it's things we're going to remember forever. It's just the way the brain works. But forgive and forget means to treat that person as if it never happened, to move on from the bitterness and the frustration and the anger and the disappointment and the betrayal, right? And it doesn't mean that person has to still be in your life, but it's just a sense of understanding that I got to release that poison, right? I got to release that out of me, and I got to let it go out of me so that I can move forward and be healthy in my new relationships and my next phase of life. And so letting go is impossible without forgiveness. So when you start your healing process after a breakup, you got to learn to forgive, and you got to be able to let go and not continue to revisit the past. Also, when it comes to blaming others as well as blaming yourself, you won't be able to stop doing that without forgiveness. Until you forgive, you'll continue to blame everybody else or the person you were with in a relationship. And you'll also put a lot of blame on yourself continuously. And you have to learn to forgive others and forgive the person you were with and forgive yourself in order to heal from that breakup. And so regret isn't a good feeling, but it is common amongst people after a breakup, where you begin to wonder what you did wrong. Could you have done anything better? Listen, that's normal to go through that process, but ultimately, some of the regrets you might live with, some you won't. But you have to understand that you're human, and we all make mistakes, and you can't beat yourself up forever. And you got to learn to move forward and just learn from those mistakes. It doesn't mean that you won't get anything better in the future, and it doesn't mean you won't get something beautiful in the future. It just means that I got to learn from this mistake. I got to learn from this situation. I got to learn from this, whatever the case may be. You got to learn to move forward and forgive yourself also, and so you don't live with regrets. It's also important that we learn from our situations. If we don't learn from our situations in life, what can happen is we're bound to repeat the same situations. If you don't learn some of the things that you did wrong, you're going to do them again. If you don't learn, man, I should have watched out for this red flag, you're going to fall for that red flag again in your relationships in the future. And so it's important that you understand that you learn lessons from every situation in your relationships so that you don't end up in the same place in the future. Also, you got to find a safe place to vent and to talk and to share. It's important that you do that when dealing with a breakup, so that the healing process can be carried out effectively in a healthy manner. You got to find the right people to talk to, the right person to talk to, the right person to vent to, the right people to be vulnerable with. And that person may just be one person, it may be five, it may be three, but either way, you have to decipher whether or not it's a safe place. But you have to find a safe place to talk and vent and be vulnerable. And you also need people that's going to pour back into you, that's going to uplift you, that's going to build you up, that's going to edify you, that's going to tell you that not every situation is necessarily going to hinder you in the future. And they're reminding you that you're not all bad, and they're reminding you that you got some great qualities, and they're reminding you and telling you and pouring into you so that you don't get too down in the dumps, right? Because a breakup can do that to you. So it's important that you have the right people around you to pour back into you. Also, time. Listen, I don't want to be cliche and say time heals all wounds, but I do want to say that time is a powerful tool. Let it do its work. And lastly, Learn to let go of your exes on social media. Let them go. Unfollow them, right? If you know that that's going to be a hindrance to you and you're going to keep going back to the profiles and every picture you see is going to frustrate you, make you mad, make you bitter, let them go on social media. You're going to have to let them go on social media. It's part of the healing. You're going to have to let them go. And that's okay. It's okay to let people go on social media. If you're letting them go in real life, it's okay to let them go in the virtual life, right? So let them go on social media and start healing. All right. Love y'all. Just wanted to give y'all some wisdom tips on how to heal after a breakup. Love y'all.